are here, and maybe you guys can fill in your classmates when or if they arrive. Sound good? So I'm Kaylee Satterfield. You'll be getting emails from me, and that's Brad. You'll get a lot of emails from Brad. I just want to go over a couple of things that are kind of housekeeping things, and then Dr. White will get to the important stuff about the course. In the packet, you have this wallet-size emergency card. It has several phone numbers on it. One of those is the SOS, emergency evacuation phone number, and I'll tell you what to call SOS in a minute. It also has the local contact for the course, or 3 local contacts for the course, and then the UTMB emergency hotline number, which you can call 24/7, and you will be connected to somebody in global health. But SOS is your best first call. So what SOS is evacuation insurance that you're all going to receive for free as part of this course. It covers evacuation for political or civil unrest, a major medical emergency, or a natural disaster. Part of SOS, included with SOS, is travel health insurance. And the travel health insurance only covers the students going on this trip. If you are a resident, you will be covered by your Blue Cross Blue Shield employee insurance. For the travel health insurance, to activate it, you use SOS. They will tell you the provider to go to, and they will work with the provider to take care of payment for you. Now, you will be with Dr. White, you'll be with Dr. Kabata, and they will take excellent care of you. If something were to happen, this is just kind of a backup for you. Also in this packet is a larger sheet that has the same information as the wallet card, just to keep somewhere else. And we do recommend that if you get a cell phone while you're in Peru, or you're taking your home cell phone with you, to program in these numbers, especially the SOS number, in case you need it. In the packet as well is information on SOS. The membership number is on here, though you don't need it. If you need to access SOS, just tell them your name, and they can pull up your record. They know you're with UTMB. They also have an app, which I haven't used, but we include in case you want the technology and want to play with it. So that's all of my little housekeeping spiel. Brad will send you an electronic packet after this orientation that has all of this information in it and a map to the hotel in Lima. So and Dr. White will talk a little about this, so that when you arrive, you can give it to the taxi driver so he knows where to take you.
Just to clarify for everyone that's going to be arriving in Lima, we're giving all of your flight information on when you're arriving to our coordinators, and they're going to coordinate the transportation for you to get from the airport to the hotel. So you don't have to worry about catching a shuttle or taxi or anything like that. They're going to coordinate the arrival of when you're coming in with someone from them to pick you up and get you back to the hotel.
So that's all I have. Let me know if you have any questions.
Just in case, it's good to know the address, and it's off, a little bit off the beaten path, and so if you have a map, the taxi drivers will find it. If you don't, you're not. So, how many of you all have you traveled in Latin America before? Some have, most have, not everybody. Okay. So I guess, yeah. So we'll do 2 things. So first, about the course, it's taught largely by colleagues from Peruvian University, Cayetano Heredia, in collaboration with us. I think I'll start by talking a little bit about safe travel. You're traveling to a Latin American country, Peru as a whole is fairly safe. But it's like everywhere in the world. They don't have the same. They're all, every place in the world you go, there are dangerous places to go. So if you go in the wrong part of Lima, you can get into trouble. But we found a hotel that's really nice and a safe place. It's built in an old house that's really very nice and very elegant. It's in a very nice part of Lima. It's sort of the tourist section of the city. So that has a lot going for it. As in all of Latin America, you have to be a little bit careful with what you eat and drink. Follow the rules for traveling internationally, or if it's piping hot, it's safe. If it's bottled, it's safe. If it's served by a street vendor, it should have a skull and crossbones on it. And in Lima, generally, things in most restaurants, most touristic restaurants are pretty nice. So in terms of communications, you'll be with the group most of the time, so you won't necessarily have to have a separate communications. There's Wi-Fi in the hotels that we're staying in, so Skype, FaceTime, things like that work pretty well, particularly with Lima. If you want to, you can get a chip for your phone in the airport's baggage claim area. There's a representative from a company called Claro that will give you a chip there if you want, or you can rent a phone for the time you're there. The phone rattles are pretty much you can receive anything. You pay $10, you can receive any calls you want, and they charge you if you make outbound calls. So, and that can be done right in the baggage claim area also. In fact, usually they'll be young women coming up to you asking if you need a telephone. It's pretty good service. It's often a good idea. You're traveling a long way into a very cool place to visit, so people often like to go to either the jungle or Machu Picchu afterwards or before. If you do that, let us know. Probably the world expert on safe travel to Peru is Dr. Cavada, who co-directs the course. Particularly if you're going up to Cusco, it's at 11,000, and Machu Picchu, the airport's at 11,000 feet of elevation, and you will get mountain sickness if you don't do something so fast like that. The main, unless you're going to the jungle, they're not problems with yellow fever. There also are not risks of malaria in the areas we're going to be, so you don't need anti-malarials, you don't need a yellow fever vaccination, unless you decide you want to go to the jungle. And if you want to go to a side trip on the jungle on your own, you'll need a yellow fever vaccination. So the big thing is traveler's diarrhea. Generally, we recommend that you have something to slow down things if you get the runs. And often an antibiotic if it keeps going for long. The one that we generally use is azithromycin. A 1 gram dose is what we use. We'll have stuff with this, and you'll be around physicians the whole time. And part of my job and Dr. Cavada's job is to be on site help with consultants. Okay, so we have a little presentation. Oh, and in terms of I'll give a little presentation, and it'll show you kind of what we're doing, and that'll give you a better idea of what clothes to take. But suffice it to say that we're going to be collecting mosquitoes in an area where there are vector-borne diseases. There should be a clue into how you address accordingly. We will be working in an area that has a lot of sunshine. There should be a clue as to what you should do to manage that. But at any rate, we're going to skip this. So there have been lots of outbreaks that have occurred around the world, and so this course is really designed to teach you all a bit hands-on about outbreak investigation. And so the training course is initially they did a hands-on short course, and this the course you're taking is a little bit larger. It's a 2-week course, and the idea is to develop a sustainable training. And it was Dr. Lascano, who's on the phone, developed this initially with the idea of training people in outbreak investigation. And interestingly, he developed the course at the same time that UTMB had got a grant that proposed developing a course, and we got our money just after Hurricane Ike, and right then the person who was going to teach the course for us no longer worked for UTMB. So instead of developing our own course, we partnered with Peruvians who have done most of the instruction and let us tag along. So this is it's a 2-week course. It started in 2009 was the first one, and it provides hands-on training in outbreak investigation. Let's see, this is not advancing. There's a video that from the first class that took the course. Have you all seen that? Most of you have. Okay. Well, if you ask Haley, she can get you the link to watch it. And so the idea is to be able to learn the skills to develop a potential outbreak, a prompt response, to design a field investigation, and then to conduct door-to-door surveys in human populations, collection of samples from humans and potential reservoir animals, to learn about collection of arthropod vectors and identification of the major genuses, learn how to trap and obviously small animals. And that's the outline of the course. It begins, well, this is a little old, but it begins in Lima initially. We made that facility by the University of Heredia for some orientation training, and then we hear suddenly from an outbreak saying they want a team to come to help us investigation, and then we fly from Lima to the Ecuador border. Actual outbreak investigation. The facilities aren't too shabby. We stay in the hotel at the bottom. The rooms actually open out onto the white beach on the Pacific Ocean, although we don't spend very much time during daylight there. But there is a pool and other things. And so there's initial orientation, planning phase, some orientation about the ethics, the logistics, flying up to the field site. The field site is at a center, a global health center that was developed in Tumbes. Originally was funded by a grant from the Gates Foundation to do research on cysticercosis. And oddly enough, the center has its own CAT scanner that the Gates Foundation was nice enough to put in there. And anyway, they have some nice classrooms and good internet access and some comfortable places to work. We then plan and do door-to-door surveys, typically in a place called Campo de Mor, which is a recent place where an informal settlement near the Ecuador border. Then we begin looking for vectors. You're seeing people on the lower left identifying culex and anopheline larvae. There's also trapping of Aedes species and adults as well. So that's some of the work we'll do in the sort of towards the center on the second row. That's someone collecting mosquitoes from human bait. Anyway, and then below is identifying organisms. We go to places that are breeding sites for dengue and malaria vectors. The cemetery where people are collected there is a wonderful place. We always find Aedes mosquitoes, and unfortunately, in the neighborhood, we typically find dengue cases. So we also go and trap rodents, try to find bats. We don't always find bats. Collect ticks and fleas from domestic animals, and sample birds as well. Part of outbreak investigation is identifying potentially organ reservoirs, rodent reservoirs, and sampling them. That's usually done in the field under biological safety conditions, so you're getting taught how to use BSL-3/4 safety precautions and doing some rodent dissection and trapping. We also look at some other dissections, and so the center works with cysticercosis, and so they usually will get a cystocircotic pig from a neighboring state because they've actually eliminated it from the state, and let you all remove the parasites, check their viability and some other things. And then eventually end up preparing results. And you learn about febrile illness surveillance, a little bit training of ecological collections. And so there have been a bunch of courses, and so very much a north-south collaboration. Students from Peru, as well as instructors, students from the U.S., as well as instructors, and we'll work very well together. And they're also on the weekend of we have one free weekend, and there's maybe 24 hours that you'll have off. During that time, there's some scheduled events, including a fantastic barbecue, and the other thing we have is an annual faculty-student soccer match. And it's controversial that depending on one year, there was a controversy and we're not sure who won, but every other year the faculty had won. Well, there was one goal that some people think was in regulation and some people don't. And since I happened to score it, imagine what my opinion is on the matter. Okay. So you're going to be, oh yeah, there's the soccer. There's a little bit of fun as well. That's from the soccer games. So I would encourage you, so you're going to be a few days in kind of fairly professional settings. So I'd like you all to, have a couple of days worth of clothes that would be acceptable in a university environment. Meeting physicians and other people. So not necessarily ties, but we should be fairly. And most of the time we're going to be out in the field. The best thing to wear in the field are long sleeve shirts and pants, but that are very lightweight. So kind of like safari clothes are ideal. I usually will coat my clothes with permethrin, because I don't like to be bitten by mosquitoes. The other way of doing that is we have a preferred cologne for the trip, and it's called Eau de Deet. So if you want to smell like DEET, you also want to have sunscreen. You want to have clothes you can play soccer in, so you want to have some shoes that you can play soccer in or wander around, and also some things for a couple of days on the university. So I think, is that kind of clear? Lily, are you still there?
I am still here, Clinton. Thank you.
Did I say too many stupid things?
No. Just the usual number that there are in the presentation.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Acceptable number of stupid things. Okay.
Yeah. It's completely under regulation, so we're good. We're good. Maybe just to say that the course is very intense when you reach the field, because the activities extend for a good number of hours. We can definitely guarantee that it's a fun activity, and there's tons of learning, and we're always open and to suggestions and input from you guys. So we're looking forward to having you in the course and hear what your thoughts are, and try to continue improving it over the years, as it's been a great learning experience working with UTMB and Clinton's team on this.
So the typical hours for the field work is we typically leave about 7 in the morning and get back about 8 or 9 at night, and then have supper after that. So except the day we do road trapping, we have to get up before dawn on the road trapping day, and there's a day that we'll go out and that also involves it's a beautiful spot, and there are lovely sunsets on the beach, but you may see one or two. We don't tend to be there at sunset. So if you're worried about working hours, don't come. Honestly, the hours are going to be long. On the weekend, there's Saturday morning activities, and they resume again late afternoon on Sunday. Basically. Let's see what else. Talked about safety, talked about the contents of the course. All of your meals and hotel during the course are part of the tuition. And Willie, does that cover the Sunday night beforehand or not? I can't remember.
Yes, it does. I mean, they're expected to arrive that Sunday, right? So, yeah.
Right.
We have we haven't made all the bookings yet, but we're going to make the reservation starting for those who arrive on that Sunday. Yeah, starting that Sunday.
Right. So Sunday through the following Friday, from Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much all of your housing, transportation will be provided. That does, if you want to buy some souvenirs and stuff, that's not included. Alcohol is not included. Well, yeah, we'll just say it that way. Although sometimes the faculty buy some things.
So sometimes the alcohol is included as part of the courtesy of the activity, but it's very rare, so we'll not really formally count it.
Right. And anyway, so depending on what you want to, and then usually if you get there on Saturday or earlier, you're responsible for your hotel up until Sunday, and they actually don't provide supper on Sunday night, but there's really nice rotisserie chicken. Or on the same block as the hotel is a nice Italian restaurant that has classic music. Very nice pizzas. But you want to have some money in case you want something different. You can exchange money on the streets. Well, in Lima, in Miraflores, the part of Lima will be, and there are actually people that stand on the street corners with vests that have a dollar sign on them, and they're informal money changers and will give you a good rate. But they like U.S. Currency has to be in pristine shape, so if it's got a corner that's bent, they may not take it. They may or may not take it. Another option is there are ATMs all over the place, and if you don't feel like taking cash, you can get solas in the airport. Actually, in the airport baggage area, there's an ATM. There are places that exchange money. In the airport, they don't give you really good rates. That can be convenient. If you get stuck and need to take a cab to the hotel, they will take $20. So, and their service is called Taxi Green, and people will come to you right in the outside the baggage area. As you go through customs, and they are pretty reliable. Generally, go outside and look around the crowd with some sign and head.
For
Clinton.
beaches on the street or anywhere really, do they have to be bills later than 2013? No, that was a problem.
I don't think so. But they have to be in
Right.
really good shape.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you're there on Sunday morning, I like to kind of give an informal walking tour of the area, and there's a big tourist markets that are very close to the hotel, and I'll show you where those are, and show you around, and usually end up in this. It's actually a mall, but it's built on a cliff on the Pacific Ocean, and you come up to it in a nice park, and you scout over the ocean, and then, the store's down. So anyway, we'll end up there, and we'll go to some of the areas, the cat park. That'll be Sunday morning if you happen to arrive. And yeah, I mean that's a little better. A lot of the flights arrive late, and so if you arrive late on Sunday night and have to go through customs and then take a taxi to the hotel and get in about 1 in the morning, and then we meet at 7 a.m., you're probably going to be tired of the whole course, and there's no time to catch up on your sleep. So I don't advise that.
Clinton,
Yes.
if I may add, we usually pick up the students from the airport, and we can drop them at the airport too on the days of the course. So they arrive on a Sunday, we can set up cabs and to pick them up on that Sunday night, and then drop them on Friday or whatever those days are. If they're coming early, that's a little bit harder for us. or they're leaving, a few days later. But those who are coming straight for the course and leaving for after the course will arrange transportation to the airport.
Okay, good. Yeah, and if you're doing tourism stuff, we can offer advice to you, but we won't make your arrangements for you. Yes, sir.
Do some of the restaurants, do they accept like American credit cards? I know some of them work internationally. Like we don't want to say exchange dollars for soles.
Visa, MasterCard, you can use pretty much anything.
Okay.
American Express, I don't know about anything else. But Visa and MasterCard are pretty much accepted everywhere.
Will there be laundry and
if you're nice, sometimes the hotel will do some laundry for you. But one thing that I've done is if you take some kind of soap or something, they actually have. It's kind of like a beach hotel, and so they have sinks for you to wash stuff out. And so that's one way to do it. But don't take stuff that requires a lot of drying. So I would stay away from, while you're on the coast, I would stay away from jeans. Oh, bring beach clothes.
Clinton?
Yes.
Yeah, just on the issue of clothes washing, the hotels do charge for doing clothes. Particularly Tumbes, when you're gonna be. I don't know much about the Hotel Miraflores, but I would imagine they charge a good amount. So work out your own logistics there. We can find out what are the costs. We can send it to you in advance. But it's been traditionally the case in Tumbes that we need to pay for laundry if we use it.
Yeah, so I would actually encourage you to take some stuff to hand wash stuff in the rooms. At least that's what I've done. Some stuff.
so for field for like field clothes, would you recommend like taking enough for the entire trip so you don't have to worry about that, or like?
Yeah, but so I can tell you what I do.
Yeah,
so,
I would love that.
So I have some lightweight field pants. I usually have about 3 pairs of them, and then I'll have a couple of shirts and then wear a t-shirt. And hat. Everybody needs a hat. Hats are important. It's bright and sunny. And if you're interested, they have some spectacular birds there. And sometimes, there'll be some birding as part of the course. And if you want to do some more, I sometimes take people out. There's a sanctuary, kind of a sanctuary area across the hotel. So if you have binoculars, that's great. Yeah, and so the day off, we try to encourage people to stay and enjoy the beach. I mean, there's some horses you can rent that are not far from there. There are a few other things. So it's a resort we're staying at. So, and if you like some fresh coconut, they'll go chop one down from one of the trees and share. You can build a bonfire for us, stuff like that. So anyway, it tends to be a lot of fun. Questions?
I think you mentioned at the beginning
Irene, sorry, who should we contact if we have specific questions about seeing Machu Picchu on our own time before the course? I don't want to waste other people's time here today if they're not interested in that.
So you might want to communicate with yourselves and find out who wants to do it.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Kabata, he works in Cusco. He's there right now, and they help coordinate a lot of people going there. Cusco is really spectacular. It was the city was there before the Spanish, so it's really a 15th century city. It's very spectacular. It's an amazing place to go. Machu Picchu is really Machu Picchu. The amazing thing is the site in the jungle. Spectacular ruins on this mountain. It's coming out of the jungle. Quite a sight. So yeah, you probably should contact them.
Thank you.
Hi. Something quick about clothing and gear. So we're gonna send you a packing list that includes some of the things that you may need to wear and bring. But something I would like to emphasize is the need for boots to be in the field. I mean, you can do okay in some cases with sneakers, but would rather you guys have you be wearing boots. You're gonna be in wet areas, so some kind of hiking boots would do well. When we're gonna be in very wet areas, we'll give you rubber boots. But we would like you to be comfortable with dust and some wetness the rest of the time. So please do not bring dress shoes for the field part. Bring or you can bring them, but you need to additionally bring some form of hiking boots or some sneakers that are strong enough to withstand humidity and dust. There's been occasional cases in the past of students who did not have comfortable shoes, and then it's inconvenient. So please look into this before you depart.
I think we said that before. Yes, sir.
So just to reiterate, yellow fever vaccine, if we just stick to the itinerary of the course.
And if you go to Cusco and Machu Picchu, there aren't yellow fever. There's not yellow fever in any of those.
Okay. Good to know.
There is travel. Oh, any dietary restrictions? Oh, I'm sorry. When we're in Tumbes, generally it's a rural area, and so we have to eat the local food that's available. And so it's a fishing and seafood area, so they have fresh grouper and lobster and oysters. And, if you're comfortable, if you're allergic to shellfish, you can let us know beforehand. You don't eat fish or shellfish, then try to work around it. They also have fresh rice. But if you like seafood, the lobsters, you often have those. Well, so during the Great Depression, people in Maine had to eat lobster every day because they couldn't sell it. So this is kind of like that. There's more that they catch than they can get rid of. So we'll have lobster and oysters. Then take a break and have some rotisserie chicken. Maybe have some the Peruvian Chinese food. that's about all that's available there. So anyway, if people have restrictions, can't even see them.
Are we going for the course? Are we going to need to have a laptop with us, or would a tablet work for certain days of instruction?
Yeah, it's helpful if some of the students bring laptops. Not everyone, but it would be good if there were maybe 3 or 4. Did you say, Willie, 3 or 4 laptops? Willie?
Yes, please do. Please do bring laptops. Not as just as Clinton is saying, not everybody needs them, but you're gonna be preparing reports, working on forms, preparing documents. So it's very convenient that you have them, and then you can do other things while you're there. So yeah, please do. In the When we are actually doing captures and field activities, I mean, in those hours, you will probably leave your backpacks with your laptops in the offices in a safe location. You should not bring them for the actual field work. In the field work, you probably want your phone on hand to take photos and things like that, but you will not be using laptops in dangerous places. You'll be keeping them with you in the hotel and in the offices, and then they stay there for when we go out for field activities.
Any other questions? There were some links to videos. I wonder if we should look at those.
Yeah, you can do the videos, or I can.
Wait, there was one of them. Yeah, can you? Is that?
You're gonna need audio.
A little bit of fun.
We got some push-ups.
There's another one earlier. There. So the first year of the course, we only had 8 students, and I think 4 of them are still in faculty here, or on faculty here now. It's one of them. parts. Billings, like it's medicine. So faculty, Katie, be fun. Okay. So let me know if you have questions.